So yes, this could be the moment that changes a heck of a lot, basically everything for Gemini, as personal intelligence is finally here, and it's about to turn your phone from a basic tool into what could be a true digital partner that actually understands your life. Yes, this is Gemini Unleashed, so let's get it. If you want to stay ahead of the curve with more news, deep dives and commentary on Gemini, Android and the entire Google ecosystem, then hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you. Cheers. So here's the deal, we have been waiting for this for a long time, and for years Google has promised us an assistant that is personal, proactive and powerful, but until today that basically felt like marketing fluff. Now, with the launch of personal intelligence with Gemini, at least in beta phases, we are seeing a first real step towards that ubiquitous AI that actually knows who you are and what you potentially want. And this isn't just about Gemini being able to search the web better either. It's about Gemini using the data Google already has about you to supercharge and personalize every single response that it gives you. We're talking about deep integration with Google Workspace, basically your Gmail, your calendar, your Drive, along with Google Photos, YouTube, your watch history from that, your activity across search, maps, and even Google Flights. And that could just be the beginning. Think about the sheer volume of information that you have stored in those applications. Most of us have thousands upon thousands of photos and videos, maybe a decade's worth of emails, potentially more if you've been an original adopter. And of course you have YouTube history that has been around for a long time in and of itself, and it'll map out all of your hobbies and interests based on those. Up until now, that data has been sitting in these individual silos. If you wanted to find a specific detail from a trip 3 years ago, then you had to go and dig it out and then integrate it manually into a query or add it after the fact. Basically, personal intelligence changes that by reasoning across all of these complex sources to provide uniquely tailored answers that a standard chatbot just simply could not and will not be able to touch. As for examples, Google's given us a few of these, and one of those was from VP of Gemini Josh Woodward. He actually shared a perfect example of how this could potentially work in the real world. So he needed tyres for his 2019 Honda minivan. He's a family man, I see, which is always nice. He didn't know the tyre size of the vehicle, so he asked Gemini. Now, any chatbot can look up the specs for a 2019 Odyssey, but Gemini is able to go further than that. It looked at Google Photos, saw that his family often takes road trips to Oklahoma and suggested all-weather tyres based on that specific history. Then it was able to pull his license plate number from a random photo in his library so he could finish the transaction at the counter and give those details. That is the potential level of utility for which for a long time has felt like science fiction and what we've been craving with Gemini. What's more, it even searched his Gmail to identify the specific trim of the van, so it meant that no stone was left unturned and it was as accurate as it could potentially be. Yes, this is an example after all, but it is a massive step beyond the recent chat memory that we've seen recently with Gemini. And this is about Gemini actually, just fully extending your context. To make this work, Google is introducing a new Answer Now button that replaces the old skip option that you'll see on, or at least you have seen until recently. So when Gemini uses your personal data to answer a prompt, it will actually show its thinking process and explain exactly which sources it has used, so you can verify the information yourself and make sure it's on the right track, which I think is especially useful with tools such as this. But as I say, it's not just for finding your license plate. Google says this intelligence excels at the human side of things, like potentially recommending books, shows, movies, or even planning travel, which I think would have been really useful to me quite recently, but I digress. If you're planning a spring break trip, for instance, Gemini can analyze your past interest in Gmail and photos to skip the tourist traps that you've already been and seen. Instead, it might suggest an overnight train journey and even recommend a specific board game to play based on what it knows that your family likes and is interested in. They've even added a For You chip on the homepage to give you personalized suggestions. You can ask things like recommended hidden gems in New York that you might enjoy, or what's a totally different career where you could see me thriving. It can even look at your grocery receipts in Gmail and your YouTube watch history to recommend 5 cooking channels that match your specific meal prep vibe or even your dietary requirements. It's incredibly deep, and honestly, it could be mind-blowing when you start to think about the possibilities that are on offer with this. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about the privacy element? Well, there are a lot of people out there who are going to feel a little bit uneasy. Having an AI reasoning through your private photos and emails, well, it's a big deal, but Google is being very clear that personal intelligence is turned off by default. You have to choose to opt in, and if you choose exactly what app you want to connect, you can personalize it even more so to your tastes. the technical side of this is also really important. Google has explained that Gemini doesn't actually train its global models directly on your private photos or your Gmail conversations. Instead, it uses limited info or a limited info approach, training on specific things like the prompts you're using and the model's responses to improve the general capability of it. In that minivan example I mentioned before, the actual license plate photo isn't being used to train the AI, it's just being referenced to answer the question. Google filters and obfuscates personal data before any training happens, so they aren't teaching the system your license plate number, they're teaching it how to find the license plate and use it when you do happen to ask it. And because this data already lives securely at Google, they claim that they have a key differentiator over the competition, which, yeah, there's no doubt about that. They don't need to send your sensitive data elsewhere to start personalizing that experience or have you introduce that personal data because it already lives on your Google account. It stays within that Google ecosystem, as it were, and that means it's already protected. Of course, it's still a beta after all, and to Google's credit, the company's being really honest about the struggles the model might have with certain nuance, particularly regarding relationship changes or complex interests. They gave the example of someone having hundreds of photos of a golf course, for instance. Gemini might assume that you love golf, but the reality is you only go there because your son potentially plays and you love him and you'll take him every single day. If the model gets it wrong and starts over-personalizing, you can just correct it by saying things like, I don't like golf, or I don't like whatever it is, and it will start to learn from those responses. If you do want to try this out for yourself, it is rolling out right now. Yes, as of this video going live to Google AI Pro and Ultra subscribers with personal accounts only in the US for now though. If you have a workspace account with a work or a school or a company, for instance, then you won't have access just yet. To enable it, you'll need to tap your profile photo in the Gemini application. Just go to settings and look for the personal intelligence tab. From there, you can toggle on all of your connected applications, those ones I mentioned earlier. Here's some really good news as well though. It's not just available on Android and the web, it is coming to iOS as well using those latest Gemini models. So it's ubiquitous, it's going everywhere. And in the future, this will expand to the free tier, more countries as well. And it's even coming to AI mode in search soon. So this could supercharge basically everywhere you access Google services. We've said before that the Google Assistant is done, and this really is sort of the proof in a lot of ways. We're moving towards a future where our devices don't wait for commands, they understand who we are and what we need before we even have to ask, which I think it's exciting, it's slightly scary, but ultimately a massive shift in how potentially we use this sort of technology. But what do you think? Are you ready to let Gemini into your Gmail and photos to get these kind of personalized answers or these personalized journeys, as it were? Or do you think that's a step too far? I think personally it's a glimpse of what a true personal assistant could be, siloed in Gemini for now, but could be unleashed. And when it is unleashed, it might be the game-changing feature that we never realized we needed, or was something that we've wanted for a long, long time and thought that maybe wasn't possible. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment sections below. I'm really excited and interested to see where the community stands on this one. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. There will be links down below to all of the services, and I'll speak to you later.